Good morning. It's Thursday, April 29th. I'm going to talk today about the issue of working and conversations. And I say issue, I guess if, for some people there's no issues. But what I want to get at is the difference between a shared space and a solo space. So I am in a solo space. So when I am working, aside from situations like this, I do not expect to be in any kind of conversation with anyone. Although I have occasionally had phone calls with the phone on speaker. That worked out. And I'm okay with that. I can get a fair amount done. But when you're starting out, you're almost always in a shared studio, art center or university or whatever. And it can be a problem in both ways, okay? And what I mean by both ways is like, okay, either you're trying to work, but you're also trying to talk. You feel the need to talk to the person next to you. Or you're trying to work and you wish that person next to you would stop talking. It's a matter of personality. And if you're trying for silence, one of the solutions I found was to go into the studio on a Sunday morning. And it wasn't that all my other fellow students were religious, it was that they were still asleep. So there are ways of conducting yourself if you need silence. It's harder if you need conversation because, of course, that other person has to agree to it and has to show up and so forth. And it can be hard depending on the layout of the situation. So when I first got my graduate studio at Iowa, there were just four of us up on what we called the mezzanine. And the graduate student in the next studio was Keith Williams, and he and I could have conversations while working. But gradually they packed in more bodies up there. And it got to the point where you couldn't work and talk at the same time. And so they actually got into a sort of a schedule where they would all work, and then at a certain point in the evening, they would sort of agree to take a break, and they'd all get together and they'd chat for a while and they'd get that out of their system, and then they'd go back to their working. Anyway, it's a factor that I don't think people calculate for when they move from that group situation to that solo home studio. Is part of the bonus getting some silence to work in? Or is that a problem? Are you going to miss the conversations? And that's one big reason people go to graduate school in the first place, is you get some great conversations with your teachers and your fellow students and so forth and so on. It can be very hard when you're on your own and enjoying the silence to sort of make progress without those conversations. So, have a good day.